So now that we are at the end of that game, I'm going to go ahead and give this my thoughts. We're going to go ahead and review the Syberia Remaster. Now, obviously, this game is an actual remaster. It's not a remake. Again, people tend to mix that up. Mainly, this game had a graphical overhaul of the original. Apparently, what some people have told me, because I did not play the original game, but from what some people have told me, they have changed a couple things. Like, they changed a couple puzzles, added some, not many, but there's just a couple things tweaked here and there. I think it's more of like a thing to kind of, you know, fans of the franchise to at least come back and expect something and then be given a different turn, you know what I mean? So, but more or less, the game is just completely, just like in terms of the gameplay moments itself, that's where the graphical overhaul is, and obviously it's been brought to modern consoles as well. And this game, I believe, just to kind of point that out there, I believe goes for 30 USD, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe a little bit. I'm not sure. I just know it was like on sale. I think it was like 35 Canadian, so that would make sense if it's supposed to ballpark for 30 USD. So just keep that in mind as we go through it. So let's go ahead and discuss what I enjoyed about this game. Obviously, having played it the first time and also being under the impression that this game is 23 years old. And, you know, I get it. Trust me. I'm going to have that mindset throughout the story, or sorry, throughout this review. So one thing I did, some of the things I enjoyed about the game in particular, I said it multiple times. The graphical overhaul is obviously where this game truly shines. The environments are absolutely stunning. You look at it, there's just a lot of detail, and it really gives you that clockpunk vibe everywhere you look. It really is a cool area to be thrown into, and it's just like a different world. It's a creative, unique world that is, it's almost like it's a believable thing that if, like, you know, the whole clock spring, you know, if steampunk evolved into this clockpunk style, like if that's something that actually happened, and in the modern 2002, you know, I guess modern, I should quote it on 2002, how life would be with these like automatons with us, like would that be something that's realistic? It's funny because it seems like it's an old style of thought, you know, but it's like you know, like by this point we probably would have this if that had happened, you know what I mean, if that technology was actually something that came into fruition. So I can definitely appreciate the environment and the world. It's very intriguing, and I feel like it makes you want to go through and play the game and learn more about your surroundings. So I'd say that's the biggest thing as well. And like I said, the visuals are absolutely stunning. You look down one area, there's so much detail in every little thing. It's just, and the thing that's great about this is you don't really need a powerful machine to actually play it. Like for the first time ever, my game actually recommended that I play with quality settings, which is pretty insane. So I normally it's actually a little, like, you know, I have to do balanced or something like that, but I was able to pretty much enjoy this game at its fullest. I mean, don't get me wrong, some of the characters, I mean, again, might not look as phenomenal, but like if you actually look at the actual environments themselves and you know, they just look really, really good to me. So I think that's probably the strongest thing as well. I will say as well, there are some interesting characters. It's very unique in the sense that you have these guys like, you know, particularly Oscar's a unique character. He's there. He's kind of like a main character, but he's also more of a supporting role than anything else. But again, it's something unique, and it is intriguing. Like I said, this whole game makes you want to keep playing and try and learn more about the environment and, you know, what is actually going on. So I'd say as a whole, that's the strongest elements for me. Now let's go into what I didn't like about the game. Unfortunately, there was a fair amount, I'm afraid. I'm going to put in my thoughts in regards to, again, when I review games, I stuff like this, remasters, I'm reviewing it not just as the game itself, but as a remaster. So a lot of that is going to come in, especially considering this game is over 20 years old, and it's one you can actually pick up for, I believe, pretty dirt cheap. So unless they pulled it from Steam, I haven't had a chance to look. But if you don't, like sometimes when they re-release a game, they pull the original, so you can't just buy that one and throw mods on. So that is really a major thing, and usually remasters get a little bit more criticism from me, and I feel like the community as well, because at that point you're reselling an old game. So let's go into it and discuss what I didn't like. So essentially, like I said, the environments, the visuals, absolutely stunning. Unfortunately, that's pretty much all that was changed, aside from a couple of things, you know, a couple things, like I said, moving some of the puzzles around, alternating just a few things here and there. But more or less, from what I understand, It was exactly the same as the base game. They didn't change the cutscenes. Mind you, some people are like, oh, that's a good thing that they didn't change the cutscenes. They stayed true to the original. But I think they should have at least redone. If you're just going to focus gameplay as it was, which again, I can tip my hat to them. You know, I can tip my hat to them having like staying true to how the original was, being point and click and not modernizing the controls. I can understand why they kept it this way, because they're like, this is not a remake, this is a remaster. We're taking the original game and making it playable on modern platforms, and also by sprucing up its visuals. I get it, but at the same time, if you're going to do that and spruce up its visuals, I feel like you have to spruce everything up. Everything. Like, I'm talking the cutscenes, you know, the animations, everything has to be redone. And it seems like there was a few things where it's almost like we're just going to do an overhaul on the shaders and the graphics, and the rest we're just going to leave as is. So in my opinion, I think you're not really getting a ton for the price at this point, because like I said, it is 30 USD, and for a game that's over 20 years old and it's a graphical overhaul, like I said, I've seen modders do that with games, you know, in the past for free. You know, there's modders who completely overhaul games for nothing. It's a passion project. So, I mean, the fact that they're reselling this game for the price they're selling it at, and there's very little change aside from the graphics, is kind of frustrating, I'd say, based on that. You know, at least I would have given it more of a pass if like the cinematics were redone as well, but they weren't. So, again, it just seems a little bit lazy in that front. Into the game itself, I will say it is, even though it's an interesting concept, I say the pacing is pretty nonsensical. It is very quirky, and I'm always down for a quirky game, you know, something different. But I feel like this one has such random stuff thrown out throughout it that the dialogue is like, it's repetitive. You know, if you try and get everything from a conversation out of some of these characters, it looks like you're investigating something new, but they basically have a runabout way of saying the exact same thing in different ways, and it's almost like there's no point in mentioning any of these extra dialogues. You're better off just clicking like the actual story, like the story-based progress the story dialogue options, because otherwise you're just gonna, if you select something else like I do, I like to exhaust all dialogue options and get as much information, as much lore as I can when I play these types of games. But I got the same, basically I got the same bit of information 6 different ways, but it's the same exact thing. You know what I mean? Like, it's like saying, hi, how are you? And it's like saying, what's up? It's like saying, how's it going? You know, all those things are basically ways of saying, like, greetings. You know what I mean? But unfortunately, it's just, I don't know. It just seems like you're sitting there wasting time, them talking to you about stuff that is completely like all in circles. I mentioned it throughout. It's just going in circles with conversations, which again, some of the dialogue is quirky, and again, I can appreciate the quirkiness to it, but some of it is just so weird, and it's just kind of off-putting. Like the whole thing with the you know, the fanatical guy. You know, the guy who was trying to like kidnap Helena. Like, it didn't make sense why we were doing that to begin with. The fact of the matter is, the story of this game is pretty silly, because you're literally just chasing this one guy across this country to sign a contract, you know, some paperwork to sign over the rights to this company. And it's, to me, it's really very, very weird. And everybody throughout it, it's just, they don't really help you. They're kind of annoying. They just, you know, having to go back and forth the same time. Like, again, that play when I was in Berchtesgaden, I was going back and forth with the guys, you know, with the mustaches, and I talked to them, and they'd be like, oh, he said this. You go talk to him there. He said, no, I didn't say that. And you go to talk over to them again. He said, you didn't say that. And then you go back again. So literally, you go back like 2 or 3 times to each guy until eventually they finally say, okay, yes, we lied. It was just like, what is the point of that other than adding time to the clock? It just doesn't make any sense. So there's a lot of legwork, and there's a lot of like unnecessary back and forth I found throughout the game, which it really killed my momentum with it, in my opinion. And it's just, I felt like it could have been chopped out completely. It wasn't really a very entertaining thing for me. I felt like we're just kind of going point A to point B for the sake of it. And when you finally get what you were supposed to get out of it, it's like, man, we just wasted all that time, and it really didn't make that much of a difference. You know what I mean? Like, I felt like I could have done, like, I could have definitely got the same experience without wasting all this back and forthness. So I just feel like there was a disconnect, and it makes you feel like out of touch with the game a little bit, and you're just like, man, this doesn't seem like this is a fun thing. And really the only thing you're looking at is the visuals. You're like, okay, I'm looking at the visuals, it looks really good, but at the same time, it's like, man, what's the point of coming back here? I've been here so many times just to get a tiny bit of extra dialogue, which doesn't really change that much. So unfortunately, it did drop the ball in that regard. I know, again, like I said, I know this game is over 20 years old, and things were different back then, but at the same time, we had some phenomenal games come out in that era that did not do the things that this game has done. So even though this is a passion project, and I understand, like, you know, the original creator had a vision, and I understand that, but again, I think this game was a little bit, I don't know. I don't think it's for everyone. If you like it, that's fine. I just don't think it's really an amazing game. I think it's a bit overhyped. Some of the stuff people told me about Syberia, it made it seem like it was like one of the most amazing games they've ever played. And I'm not gonna lie, even if I played this in 2002, I feel like I'd feel the exact same way. So I don't feel like I really accomplished anything. The story was pretty random. Didn't make that much sense. The dialogue was pretty atrocious. And this, you know, just the fact that there's a lot of legwork for no reason, it just kind of kills the mood. So that's pretty much what I had to say, what I thought about this game. To summarize everything, game looks absolutely stunning in terms of environments. Obviously, some of the character design could use a little bit more work, but it's got this really cool world and cool concept that pulls you in and want to learn more. But like I said, on the other hand of things, the story, once you do find more about it, the story is kind of like, it's just a waste of time. The dialogue is really quite cyclical. Is that a word? Cyclical? Where you talk in circles all the time? You know what I mean? It's very much like just a roundabout way of wasting your time. Again, and the dialogue, the delivery isn't that great. And sometimes the movement can be frustrating. From what I understood, the original movement was actually better, and the way they changed it in this remaster was apparently, people are saying that the AI, or sorry, the character model gets stuck and walks almost zombie-like now than they did in the original. And obviously, you know, trying to maneuver could be frustrating too. And sometimes you try and do something and then it would go around and get stuck on something else. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know, just movement, things like that. For a remaster, especially when you're charging $30 for an older game like this, I feel like it really has to really knock it out the park. And I don't think it really did that, in my opinion. So me rating this game as a remaster, again, I am including in this Syberia, like how the game was, you know, the story and all that, I am including it, but as a remaster, again, I have to preface that this game does not hold up as much, and I feel like if you can try and find the original and then just mod it, you're going to be in a much better way. Yeah, you get some trophies, achievements now, and it's a really easy platinum, but again, that's also a detriment to it, because yes, it's a platinum, but I beat it in one go. I didn't even try and I got all the achievements. This is a story-based thing, so you're going to spend maybe, I mean, it took me just under 8 hours to beat it. I started skimming a lot more, so it probably would have taken me a lot longer if I literally sat here and did everything. I'll bet if you literally if I just sat through everything, and did absolutely everything I could, and not skip anything, I probably would be pushing like the 9-hour mark, maybe even 10 hours, depending how much slower I got. But if you know exactly where you're going, I feel like this game could easily be beaten in like 5 hours, like I said. So if you just do what you need to do and go straight through it, it's not that much gameplay for the money, in my opinion. You're better off getting other games at this value, at this price point. So with that being said, I think this game, as a remaster, Syberia Remastered, is going to get a 4.5 out of 10 for me. Below average. Again, not a horrible game by any stretch of the word, but I feel like there's just, for a game like this and so niche, I feel like it really had to bring it forward, and I just think it's just kind of riding the wave of mediocrity a little bit with this release. And lately, Microids hasn't really been blowing my mind either. If you don't know who Microids are, they published Agatha Christie Death on the Nile as well, so they've been putting out stuff that it seems like there's not as much effort that I wish there could be. It feels like, I said, I don't want to say this was a cash grab, but at the same time, I feel like they could have done the original more justice if they just did a bit more. Again, a remaster is never that much, but for this price, I think for a remaster of this old game, I think they should have charged at least $10 less minimum. Like, I think this should be a 20 USD game, but it's not. I feel like they're reaching a little bit with it, and I just can't really recommend it. So again, below average as a remaster, 4.5 out of 10 is the score. So there you go. That's my thoughts on it, guys. Thank you so much for watching today. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, be sure to leave a like, comment your thoughts below, and don't forget to subscribe if you're new. Turn on those post notifications with the bell icon so you don't miss anything I put out here on the channel. Be sure to like, follow my social pages, of course, Facebook, X, Instagram, Snapchat, Discord. Those are linked in the description. If you want to get yourself a shirt or hoodie of mine, there's a link in the description. Also an embedded feature right below the stream. You can scroll down, see some goodies I have there. Ultimately, just go to the website for the full range of products and customization options. Big shout out to all the sponsors, of course, DX Racer, Bones Coffee, Ridge Wallet, Mad Rabbit Tattoo, Jinx Custom Controllers. I used to, or not Jinx Custom Controllers, ignore that, sorry. Brain went on autopilot. cut that one from it. No, Jinx. I use those guys' products daily. I still technically use Jinx every day. You just can't get them anymore, unfortunately. Anyway, I use the products daily. Check them out for yourselves with the links in the description. Be sure to use my promo code DANQ8000 to save at checkout with those guys. If you want to send something to my PO box, there is an address listed in the description below. Anything that gets sent to that PO box will be open in a social post or in a live stream, whatever makes more sense for whatever's sent. And finally, be sure to check out and sign up for the Team 8000 membership program if you haven't done so yet. Just support the page immensely. 4 tiers, 4 price points, entry levels 99 cents. It's cheap and easy to get into the program that way. However, across various tiers, you will get things like custom badges by your name, custom emojis used in chat, exclusive video and stream access, priority in lobbies, giveaways, discounts, plenty more. We're working our way back through 500 members. We ended up cracking a massive amount of members today, massive amount of gifted. It was amazing. So I'm really excited to be back in the 500s just like that. So let's just keep it going, see how many more we can get. Obviously, the highest I've ever had was 663, like I said before. So if we can crack and try and beat that, maybe hit 7 for the next major milestone, that'd be amazing. But obviously, one step at a time. So if you guys want to help us work towards that, support the channel, get some cool perks, you can join that with the link in the description. There's a join button below the stream, also section on my main channel page as well. If you want to gift members, send super chats or super thanks, you can do those with the $ icon that's next to chat. Click it, you'll get a drop down. If you are gifting, just remember you can do 1 to 50 in a single transaction. Ultimately gift as many as you want through multiple transactions. Okay, thank you guys so much again. Hope you have a great rest of your day, and hopefully we catch you in the next one. All right, we'll see you then. Take care. Peace.
Who's the man with the plan? If you feel trouble wild and wild on these violent and hit you 8,000. Wait a minute, hold that style is dialed in. Goddamn Billy Jack, we still riding tires flat. I hear them sirens, see shots flying, so we driving fire back. If they ain't vibing, lie with that. Got me dressed up in all black. What up? Hood up, and I see them haters try to run with us. They gon' need inhalers. Gotta breathe them hard just like Darth Vader. Players, grab your respirators. Night invaders get lightsabered. Mask on for the shooters. Move like trash to bed intruder. Got that Glock and got them woofers. Just press play, I'll keep it moving. Who is not? Still you damn fools. Keep it fresh like canned food. There ain't nothing we can't do, so tune into that damn Q. Yeah. It was never, ever a game.